Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Why is my Bluetooth not working? Don't trip. We're going to get it rocking. We're going to forget that. I don't know what this thing is going on. BT LED. We should be rocking. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. We need our joint. We need our joint. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Yeah, they throwing off the whole. All right, let's see if we can get connected. Good evening. Y'all know what it is, the wind down. Y'all know I like to move places. Uncompetitive's in the building. IROC's in the building. I'm amped, and the music is working, so we're good to go. Shout out to y'all. Byron Donalds destroyed the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club may be responsible for making more Republicans and conservatives than any other platform out there, besides MSNBC. Matter of fact, I'm going to say that they are more responsible for they create more Republicans and conservatives. I'm going to say even more than MSNBC, because people aren't really going on MSNBC that are not liberals. Like, it's not like conservatives or people in the middle are looking at MSNBC, or maybe not. I don't know. But I feel like the Breakfast Club has more of a wide variety, especially when you look at that younger group that may be undecided. So it's we're definitely going to review that. We'll talk a little bit about the vice presidential debate yesterday. We had the show yesterday, so if you caught it, you caught it. If you missed it, we'll touch on it a little bit. I'll be honest, we're not going to focus too much on it. We may focus more on it on Friday, but yeah, that's what we got. I rock and uncompetitive in the building. Oh, let me send to my friends. As you're joining, please make sure that you like. That's going to help boost the algorithm. We're all about the algorithms. We need the algorithm on our side. Let me send to my group chat real quick. Already posted online. Send a group chat. Let's see who taps in. How's y'all day going, man? I don't know about y'all, but I've been feeling like the days are just going. There is no weekends. There is no weekdays. It's just what I got to do today. That's been the energy that I've been on. You know, it's not Friday. It's like, what do I have to get done today? What's on the to-do list? And it's usually a continuation of yesterday's to-do list, but that's a good thing. Hopefully everybody's capitalizing on all the opportunities out there. As we always talk about, there's an opportunity in everything. If we do not love our situation or like it a lot, then be real with ourselves. That's part of the integrity aspect. Be real with ourselves. And once we're being real with ourselves, then we can then be real about the things that we want, the life that we want to create, the life that we want to manifest. And then once we get those thoughts, we don't have to worry about trying to convince ourselves that our life right now is where, we're happy with. We're already putting out the energy for something better to come along. So I think that's important. And I think that's the best way, the best approach for anything. Be honest with ourselves, both from a standpoint of what we don't like and then the life that we do want. And let's go get it, man. There's opportunities everywhere. Everything is an opportunity. I'm trying and I'm not capitalizing on everything that I should be. I'm not capitalizing. I'm not letting y'all know that I feel like I'm Dame Dash. We got cookies. Speaking of Breakfast Club. But let me make sure. Hold on. Let me move in a little bit. What's good, Doug? Shout out to Big Bro. All right. You saw that constellation on the back. That's Pegasus. Pegasus is connecting with our spiritual selves, you know, the inner godliness in all of us. And this is our R&R. This is our rest and recovery. Good for relaxation. Don't worry. Now that we're monetized on YouTube, we can have a store on YouTube. So we will have all these different products that we've been working on for a very long time available. This is actually, I can't even take credit. This is Maya's project right here. This is Maya's project. I'm just pushing it. I'm just promoting it. I'm just doing what I do, the sales part. You feel me? That's just what's in me. So super excited about this. Herbs, right? Herbs. You know, you got to have your herbs. If you're going to, life is all about balance, right? So as I'm drinking this tequila, I'm going to finish it off later tonight with my herbs and make sure that I'm getting in what I got. Lemon balm in there, chamomile in this particular mix, passion flower. What else we got? I said lavender, pink rose. We got 2 holy basils. I think it's the Rama and the Krishna or the Vana. One of them is for the upper. But we got a bunch. We got whatever you need, man. Whatever you need. So if anybody's feeling under the weather, especially approaching, I'm already talking about approaching the winter. It's the first few days of fall. But as we get more and more closer to, the winter, and I can't even say, I can still say it. They're advertising flu shots. So if they're advertising flu shots, I can advertise herbal tea. You feel me? So what do we got on the agenda today? And I feel you. It all goes by so fast. I don't know if they're playing around with I'm telling y'all, I really used to think that they're playing around with the days or something, making the days shorter. But obviously, you know, the time and stuff. That's one of those conspiracy theories that I'm not willing to stand on. So let me be very clear with that. But something's going on, man. It's just maybe we just all got maybe we're just all appreciating life so much right now that it's actually getting to the point where it's like, oh man, it's going by so fast. So it's not all a bad thing. So let's see what we got on the agenda for today. Excuse me. Alana's in Hawaii. Yo, Alana and Urs, I'm so amped for them. They just made it back home. All right, one of the homes, the home, big T, HE, so definitely amped about that. They're enjoying life, getting reconnected with the earth back out there in Hawaii. I'm sure it's an emotional experience for all of them. So definitely keep them in your thoughts and in your manifestations. You feel me? So it's 3 p.m. in Hawaii, man. What's the weather like? Go ahead and make us all jealous. While I'm in Miami. It's a little sticky, you know. It's like 78, 80. It's sticky though. But yeah. Queez said someone told me the 30s go by quick. Yeah, because I'll be real, the 30s right now, there's some urgency. I'm gonna keep it real. There's some urgency, and it started to creep up maybe the last 3-4 years. And for me, why the 30s is going by quickly, y'all tell me if this is the same for y'all. But as I mature, want family, you know, you start to realize like, yo, I want a family. Like, yeah, I always wanted a family, but now, like I need a family. Like I need a family. For 2, you start to, I think it's a transition, maybe the way that we see our parents. At least that is the way for me. So now my family is not just all about me. It's like, yo, I want a family for my parents. You know what I mean? I want to, you know, you cross over into that where you really start feeling like an adult. 20s, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't feel like an adult. I just felt like a big kid that if I had some money, I could, you know, big kid with some money. And sometimes I didn't have money. So it just felt like a big kid and it was regular. 30s, nah. I need to figure out a way to pay back, get that return on the investment from my parents, all the things that they sacrificed. So my brother and I could be raised the way that we were raised. And you start to realize it in your 30s, like, damn, your parents really give up their entire lives for you. Like, give up their entire lives. Like, their fun is only based on your fun. Like, their fun, I should ask my parents sometimes, like, my dad has talked to my mom, I'm sure they used to go dancing. They're different than our generation. They actually used to go dancing when they go to the club, all these different things. And they gave up all that fun to go see football games for me, like to go do different things, maybe for my brother, different things. So it just changes. It just changes. So for me, that's where a lot of that urgency comes from. And realizing like these years are so crucial to the trajectory of how I want life to be when I do welcome some kids into this world. So hopefully that wasn't too long-winded. And yeah, what we got? I keep saying what we got, but then I keep reading y'all comments, so that's a good thing. That's why when people, I'm gonna be honest. So sometimes when I do yesterday, I can't even say because y'all were on there yesterday, but yesterday when I do the vice presidential debate and stuff, not the regular shows, there's usually a bunch of like new people on there. Not gonna say random because nothing's random. Just like IROC, we found IROC. We found not only IROC, we found Uncompetitive, I believe, on one of the political shows with the debates, and maybe not, but on those ones, there's more of the people that don't typically tune in. So the conversation is a little bit different for me when I'm on the wind down or the wake up. I'm gonna be honest, y'all spoil me. Because I jump on here, I'm like, I don't even need to have an agenda. Like, I feel like I could really just jump on and we're going to figure out and just have a conversation about what to talk about. Like, all I got to do is bring up a topic. Y'all bring up a topic. So when I say all that to say this, that when I say that we are growing on this platform, like it is really, really, really happening because of y'all. It's really happening because of y'all. I really mean that. So definitely appreciate it. Hold on. What did my dad just write? Just more fun than the partying. All right. The sports with you. My dad said the sports with me. And then with Justin, it was more fun than the partying. Yeah. All right. So then hold on. Dad, I'm not sure I understand. But my dad, he just texted me. So. But yeah, I get sad thinking about this, that sports is over. I got to figure out something else to compete in. I told y'all the last thing that when I realized how my parents missed watching me compete at stuff was at the High Rocks. Shout out to my brother G Mitch. He invited me to this damn High Rocks, this conditioning competition down in Miami, and they saw me get destroyed. Like, I'm not talking about destroyed by the rest of the competition. I got destroyed by the rest of the competition thinking I could just jump out there, do the top elite league and just jump in there. I've never been a conditioning guy, just is what it is, but that's great because that's a challenge. But they were so excited just to be with me every step. I'm like, damn, like when I gave up sports, when I retired, I retired. Shoot, I didn't kick me out. When I retired, they retired too. So we're definitely, so all these things that I mentioned, whether it's the clothing, whether it's the tea and tree, whether it's anything else that I'm doing, the retreats, y'all will hear a little bit more about those. So for anybody that actually is tuning in, Queez, along with our brother SB, Steve, we're working on some retreats. Hold on, somebody send me a text and just tell me after this to make sure that I send Queez and Steve the information on the retreat that I was supposed to send them. So but my dad wrote, going to the sporting events for you and Justin was better than going to parties. So going to the sporting events for me and Justin was better than going to parties. That's what my dad said. So the sporting events for my brother and I were better than the parties. He's just being a nice guy, right? He's being a nice dad. But I actually believe them. I believe them. And Maya just texted me, so I already got the text, so we're good to go. We got 13K in the building. Queen said, send it now. Send it now real quick. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to show y'all. We're going to walk through it. But we got 13K in the building. Do me a favor real quick before you forget. Like. We need y'all to like. Y'all already know the drill for the algorithm. YouTube is being friendly to us. we're going through we've been getting reviewed for the last 2 weeks to officially be a monetized channel. But during that time, let me break it down for y'all. During that time, I think we've almost had like 2,000 watch hours just within the last like 28 days. So that's significant. The goal, it took us a year and a half to get to 3,000, and now it's just bubbling. So it is what it is. But it's good when you can go through the journey. When we get things fast, then we're missing a lot of the steps, missing a lot of the lessons, the skills that come with it. So now, I feel like, we're pretty seasoned at this point. We're pretty seasoned at this point. And when I say we, I really mean we. So hold on. Doug just wrote, see, no show. We just talking. We just chatting. Shout out to Shy in the building. What's good, Shy? Shy tapped in yesterday. Shy had me crying yesterday, commenting during the debates. Shy had me crying. And that was it was a quote unquote, I heard a lot of people describe it. It was a boring debate, but it was an amazing debate because it was so boring, so but it was a lot of information. Shy kept it funny in the group chat. We were going back and forth the whole night, so that was good. Oh, the gang. iRock wrote, that was Lana writing all the gang. iRock wrote, yeah, you did. I'm so glad I found y'all, honestly. It's always such a good combo. Even if I can't jump in, I'm listening. Trust me, we appreciate it. There go Queez with the send it now. Doug wrote, it's true. Watching your kids compete and succeed in life events is a bigger blessing. Doug would know. Doug got 20 kids and all of them are doing excellent. So if you need some lessons on raising kids, hit Doug up. Not really 20 kids. Taking the stairs versus the elevator. Come on, Queez, talk to him. Matter of fact, Queez, cam up, man. Yo, if I ever get Queez on here, I promise y'all he's not coming off. He's not coming off, but maybe we could put together. I would love to do something else like sports plus a little bit. Like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. If we got Vons, one of our homeboys, like if we just had our group chat just on a big Zoom, or we could do it on here, that would be dope. But let's actually get to the show. So today we're going to go over Byron Donalds on the Breakfast Club. I believe I have a bunch of different spots for us to touch. Let me make sure I got them. I may have them on my other phone, so you may have to give me a second. Hold on one second. I got all the timestamps on my other phone, so hold on one second. Like. So maybe they're actually on this one. Hold on. Is this it? Matter of fact, they are on this one. So my apologies. I got them. I had the right phone. All right. So we're going to start off. We got Byron Donalds. Let me make sure I got the right. So we're going to start. I think we're at 7:07. That's the first time stamp. So we're going to get into it. And matter of fact, hold on. First and foremost, just to start off, it's 12 kids counting grandkids. The grandkids may be more. Well, that's the fun stuff. But I would assume. But before we get into this Byron Donalds real quick, well, are y'all comfortable saying who y'all think? Not who you're voting for. But before, we're going to get into Byron Donalds, then we'll talk about the VP debate a little bit later on. But maybe y'all could start off by just saying who y'all think won. I don't know. If not, you could wait and hold off until we actually start talking about it. So no worries. We already got it queued up, so I don't have to look for the video. We already got it queued up. We're going to go to timestamp 7:07. Let me make this a little bigger for y'all. Let me get this off mute. And Angela Rye. So I for somebody that watches The Breakfast Club, I don't know. Y'all tell me, is she on the show all the time? I don't know. But I think I said it before last time that she's just their political analyst. And whenever a Republican goes on this show, or let me not say that because Jill Stein's not a Republican. Whenever a non-Democrat goes on this show, it seems to be like you know how it's almost as if and I don't want to disrespect the Breakfast Club, but you know how there's certain people like in a sport, or let's say boxing. And at a certain point in boxing, it's like you fight these dudes. They become like journeymen where, they used to be really good, but now they're kind of like, they maybe took a loss or two, and now they're trying to work their way back up. So now they become sort of like a gatekeeper. So I don't know if the Breakfast Club would be considered a gatekeeper in any other aspect, but when it comes to politics, because the Breakfast Club is obviously a huge platform, but when it comes to politics, they're not. So when it comes to politics, it's almost like the Breakfast Club is like the Republican gatekeeper ran by the Democratic Party, aka the Breakfast Club, where you go through, you have to go through this gauntlet where you're going to be bombarded with questions. They're asking you, why are you Republican? You're racist. They're racist, all this other stuff. And my man Byron got busy, like always. Byron, he's one of my favorite guys, man, when it comes to this political space. But let's get into it.
Party. When David Duke joined the Reform Party, he left. And he famously said, I can't be associated with that party because they let David Duke come in. That man is a Klansman.
Let me run it back a little bit. Hold on.
2000, Donald Trump was a member of the Reform Party. Most people don't talk about this. He was a member of the Reform Party. When David Duke joined the Reform Party, he left. And he famously said, I can't be associated with that party because they let David Duke come in. That man is a Klansman. When he bought Mar-a-Lago, he desegregated Mar-a-Lago. But at the time when he bought it, only white people were allowed in Mar-a-Lago.
That's something that a lot of people don't know about Florida. So Florida, even in Miami Beach, like I know a lot of like the energy that they have now during spring break where they like, yo, no black people. No, I'm just joking. But if you know, then you know, because Memorial Day weekend, we know how that used to be, but it got crazy ever since the pandemic. So they tried to make it a little bit less urbanized. So it's a nice way of saying it. So, but before that, somebody can look it up. Black people used to not be allowed in Miami Beach. And it was a lot later in years. Like when you think about it, I know my dad visited, I think sometime in the 80s or early 80s or maybe late 70s, maybe like right before that. I could be totally wrong, but there was a certain point in time where Florida was extremely segregated. So that's just a little, I'm not sure that everybody knew about that. And especially the first part. And I know a lot of people like to act like Trump is a Klansman. I hope y'all caught that first part with Trump belonging to this Reform Party and then deciding to leave when David Duke decided to join. But let's keep going.
He desegregated Mar-a-Lago. But at the time when he bought it, only white people were allowed in Mar-a-Lago. He desegregated that, allowed black people and Jewish people to be a part of Mar-a-Lago. So I think that when you start going down the road of the past, you have to take a man in his totality. I know the man today. And then when you couple that with the economic policies, the energy policies, the foreign policy, we have to acknowledge the reality that in the world today, the United States is in the midst of two conflicts, not directly, but indirectly. We just sent troops over into the Middle East because of the growing conflict with our ally Israel having to essentially secure its sovereignty and its protection from Hezbollah and Hamas. Well, when Donald Trump was president, we didn't have to do any of that. So I acknowledge the stuff that you're talking about that happened in the past, but I think you have to take a man on the full record. And when he was president, he did release a lot of black people from prison. He did that. He did try to reform some of the criminal justice system. He did that as well. And so that work is just as important as something that he might have said back during the Central Park 5.
I acknowledge the First Step Act, but when you said he undid the 94 crime bill, what do you mean?
What I mean is that the reforms in the First Step Act undid in part some of the issues in the 94 crime bill. Not totally. Mm-hmm. Not totally. It dealt with the sentencing of those people who were.
So just to give some context, I didn't want to play the entire part, but they were addressing Donald Trump's involvement with the Central Park 5 when he put up the full page ad calling for those kids, I believe, to get like the death sentence. Donald Trump responded in the second debate, the first one with Kamala Harris, and he made it very clear these kids pled guilty. I thought now it's a little weary. And even if I recall correctly, speaking to my dad, there was some evidence that it came out, and apparently, I don't know if Donald Trump ignored it, but he still put out the ad. Neither here nor there. But Byron Donalds was saying, look it up. I shouldn't say neither here nor there. We should do our research. Maybe we'll look at that on Friday. But when it comes to this act that Donald Trump put in place, Byron Donalds is just saying that it actually reversed or repaired a lot of the things that were wrong with the crime bill, which obviously that's what, a lot of people say that Joe Biden was heavily involved with.
Who either had their sentences reduced or were released and their convictions were in line with the 94 crime bill and the way criminal statutes were written during that under that piece of legislation.
And his thoughts on the whole Haitians eating.
Go ahead, Angela. What's that?
Oh, what's up, Angela?
Sorry, just on this same point, you talked about taking the man in his totality.
Yeah.
So one of those things in his totality is what happened on January 6th, which was your first term in Congress.
Yeah.
Do you think he should be held accountable? Donald Trump should be held accountable for his role in the January 6th insurrection?
Well, I mean, listen, first of all, I would tell you that everybody's responsible for their own actions. Just like I'm not going to blame friends or blame anybody else for the things I've done wrong in my life. I'm not going to put that on him. I'm not going to run around and blame Bernie Sanders for the fact that Steve Scalise was shot. Because if you go back and look at when Steve Scalise, who's the current leader in the House of Representatives, who almost died at a congressional baseball practice. Hold on, I'm going to explain this. So I'm going to come back to January 6th.
Yeah, please do.
No, I will, of course. The shooter that almost killed Steve Scalise, the Republican leader, he said vehemently that the reason why he went to the congressional baseball practice of Republicans to shoot it up was because he felt that Republicans were going to take away health care. And what he had heard in his rhetoric was that was dangerous, and these Republicans had to be stopped. So I'm going to translate that to January 6th. The shooter is the one that perpetrated that crime. I'm not going to put that on Bernie Sanders, who he cited for the rhetoric around why he went to the congressional
see what Byron trying to do.
I
don't know if he's going to do.
Let me translate. Donald Trump authorized 10,000 National Guard troops. I'm on the oversight committee. He actually authorized 10,000 troops on January 4th, 2 days before January 6th, obviously.
I wasn't aware of this. Maybe we need to fact check it. But Byron is saying that 2 days before he authorized this, what did he say, 10,000 troops? Maybe I got the number wrong, but he's saying that he authorized a certain amount of troops just in case, I guess, something did happen.
So if you're going to say that you incited an insurrection, then how are you also going to authorize 10,000 National Guard troops to be at the Capitol? Are you inciting or are you not? Because the record is he authorized the troops. Nancy Pelosi and Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., did not want the troops at the Capitol. Muriel Bowser signed a letter on January 5th wanting the National Guard troops to be on traffic duty in D.C. Now, here's the funny thing about January 5th, 2021, is that nobody was in D.C. because D.C.'s rules around COVID-19 had the entire city shut down. The streets were empty during this time. So the National Guard that was authorized by Donald Trump were on traffic duty when there was no traffic.
I've never heard any of this before this interview. And maybe I just skimmed over it. Maybe Byron's just making it all up. I'm sure some people will think that. But I was not aware of this. And I'm not sure that it changes. I don't think it's going to change many people's perspectives. But it's good to know.
When they could have been at the Capitol. That's the history of January 6th. So your question is, well, did he incite a riot? Well, I never seen somebody incite a riot.
What I said,
and Uncle Brother, I agree. I agree with Florida being the South, and it used to be quite racist down here. And I agree that January 6th was no insurrection. How are you going to stage an insurrection with no damn guns? It would be the first insurrection ever staged, I believe, with no guns. But if they call it an insurrection, people just gonna go with it, I guess. I don't know. But let's see what Angela Rye has to say on this.
I'm gonna cut you up. I'm gonna make one point. I don't want to cut you off.
No. But I want to make sure that you're addressing the right point, because I actually did not use that language. What I asked you was, should Donald Trump be held accountable for his role in January 6th? And so what I think is important is to compare this to Steve Scalise being shot after someone wanted health care versus the rhetoric, the very dangerous rhetoric that Donald Trump spouted on January 6th, where more than 1,200 people have been charged in nearly all 50 states for their role, and 140 police officers were assaulted. The same police officers that your party has said they want qualified immunity for, and Donald Trump, because we're looking at the totality of the person, has said they should have full immunity, right? And when you think about the number of police officers who would get full immunity for their role in killing and being violent with people in our community like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Philando Castile, Charlene Lyles, Manny Ellis, is that really the kind of rhetoric that you want to push, especially at the Breakfast Club?
Well, hold
that last line that she just said, especially at the Breakfast Club, I can't stand her. And I think I'm right to say that, or she bothers me. Or it's not even that she bothers me. I just don't like her very much. And it's because of stuff like that, because you're going to say that because you know that you're talking to a black audience at the Breakfast Club. So you're going to say like, sis, I'm going to say it. If it is what it is, if it's what I stand on, it's what I stand on, no matter whether I'm talking to a white group, black group, Indian group, Haitian group, it doesn't matter. But she just comes across in such a, like, it's almost as if, and this is the same thing that I had, like the problem when she was interviewing Jill Stein. It's like, what have you done? Like, what have you done? These people get on and try to just bully people and be so critical. What is your record of accomplishments and addressing these issues rather than just bringing up the problems that you have with other groups? So let's just keep going.
Hold on a second, Angela, because you brought in like 4 different topics now. Do you want to talk
No,
about
I
Trump?
didn't. What I brought in was January 6th responsibility, police accountability, and I used examples of why they should be held accountable. But you talked about how fantastic he was with the crime bill, which I object, but I'll let you finish your point.
Fair.
You also have not acknowledged the fact that this man was vehemently opposed to the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And you all are supposed to be the party that protects law enforcement, where over 150 police officers were assaulted that day on January 6th because of Donald Trump's rhetoric.
So let me respond to a couple things. Number one, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. There were actually 2 bills that were moving through the United States Senate that year. There was the George Floyd Policing Act that you discussed, and there was the bill that was written by Senator Tim Scott. They were both moving through the Senate, right? The Tim Scott bill is the one that could have got signed into law. It was essentially a mirror image of the George Floyd bill, except for qualified immunity. The difference between those 2 bills, and Angela, you just acknowledged it, the only difference between those 2 bills was qualified immunity. The issue with qualified immunity is very simple. If you remove qualified immunity from policing, you're going to have less officers on the street. Police officers make what? $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year. They have most law enforcement has about 40 million or more encounters every single year with citizens. If you remove qualified immunity, I'm telling you this right now because I've talked with law enforcement officers all across the country, not the chiefs, the officers. They will not be working these communities. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm from Crown Heights, Brooklyn. I may not have always loved having the police in my neighborhood, and that's just a thing from a kid. I may not have always loved it, but when I needed them, they were there. And a lot of our
So what he's talking about, qualified immunity, I wasn't exactly sure what it was. I heard of it before, but I wasn't sure with the details, and they're getting ready to kind of have a little bit of a back and forth on it. But qualified immunity is a legal doctrine that protects government officials from personal liability when performing their duties. And it's almost like, okay, Derek Chauvin, the George Floyd situation happens. When you have qualified immunity, it protects the government officials from them losing things in their personal lives or them being able to be sued for their personal, for their home or whatever their personal wealth is, if I'm understanding it correctly. Now so I just wanted to say that they're going to get into a conversation about the details of it. And I guess we'll see exactly how that goes.
Officers today.
But to speak on it, there's a lot of,
they're black, they're Hispanic, they're white. So removing qualified immunity only lowers the number of officers in communities. What we're seeing right now is a movement of policing from states where they're not really respecting law enforcement to states where they do, or there's not that moral support for law enforcement. I was in my district yesterday. I was talking with an officer who's from Philadelphia. He was a Philadelphia officer. He now is a Fort Myers officer. I asked him, I was like, well, why'd you make the move? He goes, because up there was no support for me as an officer for what I love to do, which is serve my community. So I said, enough is enough. I'm gonna move. He went to Florida.
That's happening in Jersey. I'm very close with officers in New Jersey, and they say the same thing. They are scared to do their job in a lot of ways. They are scared to do their job in a lot of ways. Shout out to the car in the back. It's Miami. they're scared to do their job in a lot of ways because they're scared of the repercussions that will come. Everybody pulling out a phone, how it may appear, how this person may sue me, all these things, to the point where they're being a little bit timid when involving themselves in situations. Now, that may work good if you actually are committing a crime, or maybe just for a lot of officers, it keeps them, a lot of the ones that are going to be overly aggressive and excessive, it keeps them in check. But for a lot of the others, this is just what I'm hearing. For a lot of the others, it makes them a bit hesitant to react and respond quickly when doing their job. I'm just telling y'all the conversations that I've had with some of them.
My sheriff in Florida, he's like, I have more applications coming from officers who are in states or in localities where they're not getting the moral support.
And we got the chief in the building. Chief always pulls up in the right time. All right, so Brandon wrote, if they are, matter of fact, don't look at Brandon's comment. Brandon, just hear me out. That's why I didn't read the entire definition. So don't look at Brandon's comment yet. I'm in DC and I know people, so Uncle Brother wrote, I'm in DC and I know people in independent media who were there covering the events of January 6th. The unrest was staged, intelligent psyop. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do think that, let me just say this. Is it far-fetched to believe that the Democrats wanted it to be a big situation? And when I say the Democrats, I'm talking about the people there. Everything is about creating drama. Matter of fact, and you know what's so funny? People will probably hear me say that and be like, here he goes with the conspiracy theories, thinking that the Democrats wanted this to be a big insurrection. However, I remember vividly when Trump was shot at the first time, when he was shot the first time, a lot of people said it was staged, whether it was in my group chat or whether it was on the news. A lot of Joy Reid, a lot of people saying, oh, we need to see the banners. We don't really think it was. Somebody got killed and people were still thinking that it was staged. So I don't understand how we can look at one side and say like, hey, this guy Trump staged somebody shooting him in his ear, but then not think that the Democrats looking at this type of situation probably said, you know what? Let it happen. It's only going to make him look bad, and therefore we'll be able to leverage this. I don't think that that's far-fetched at all, but you know, people going to think whatever they want to think. Hold on. All right, so hold on. And yes, without qualified immunity, there would be no officers left. I agree that it's definitely discouraging a lot of people. And correct me if I'm wrong, aren't the numbers in people that are looking to join the police force as well as the military down? I don't know if that's a significant problem yet, or if it will be, but please let me know if I'm correct on that, because I may be totally off.
Support or whatever they need to continue to do their job day in, day out. And so they're leaving. Well, who does that hurt? That hurt. Who does that really hurt though, Charlamagne?
Yeah,
because if you don't have officers if you don't have officers on the streets or officers, in urban areas, who's really left in that lurch?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what does qualified immunity have to do with having less police officers?
Because the economic.
So I believe Charlamagne he said that he's aware of what qualified immunity is. I don't see how you can have a conversation on this and not understand how, if you're aware of what qualified immunity means, I don't see how you can look at it and say you're not sure how that would mean less police officers or less people trying to be police officers. So let's keep going.
Economic incentive of qualified immunity means that your personal assets aren't gone after if something goes wrong. So, you're in business. Do you get involved in a project or a deal that leaves you massively exposed financially? You may, depending on your passion for that project, but then you also sit back and think, now, wait a minute, if something goes wrong, I'm going to be held massively liable. Maybe I need to do something else.
When something goes wrong, we're talking about people getting violently hurt or killed.
Yeah, clearly.
And I named people that you brushed over.
But it's when somebody clearly violates a constitutional right.
And when you violate a constitutional right, qualified immunity doesn't apply to you. And that's what I'm talking about. It does not. And Angela, don't do that. It does not.
I thought that was the definition. I thought that was the definition.
No, it does not.
I thought that was the definition.
No, it does not. If you carry yourself outside.
Watch this exchange. And I know we just played the exchange the other day that was on Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp. And we were joking around about how it is, whether or not women ever admit whether or what it's like when you're going back and forth with a woman. Just pay attention. Just pay attention. Just pay attention. So I'm gonna bring it back maybe about.
Does not, Angela, don't do that. It does not. Qualified immunity doesn't apply to you. And that's what I'm saying.
Listen to what he's saying.
And when you violate a constitutional right, qualified immunity doesn't apply to you. And that's what I'm talking about. It does not. And Angela, don't do that. It does not.
I thought that was the definition. I thought that was the definition.
No, it does not.
I thought that was the definition.
No, it does not.
Don't do that.
If you carry yourself outside of the confines of your training and the protocols of that department, qualified immunity doesn't apply to you. It does
That's not true.
That is very true. That is very true.
That is patently
That
false.
is it's patently true, and we need to make sure we have that accurate. We cannot make that statement because you have a lot of officers out here who do their job with honor and dignity and respect for the people that they serve.
Look at Charlemagne.
Listen, qualified immunity is a legal doctrine that protects government officials from civil lawsuits when they perform their jobs unless they clearly violate a constitutional right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And what is a violation of that right is when they're outside the norms of their training and the protocols of that department or that agency.
She just said, what did she say? I don't even know I'll be honest. She said it's patently false. Charlemagne read the definition. Byron was 100% right. Both of them were 100% wrong. Do you think either one of them will acknowledge being wrong? I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? I'm going to go back. Let me know what you think in the chat real quick. If you could type quick enough, I'm going to go back 10 seconds just so we can see the exchange again, just so we can see the beautiful Angela Rye be so strong and potentially wrong.
When they perform their jobs unless they clearly violate a constitutional right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And because you have a lot of officers out here who do their job with honor and dignity. It's very true. That is that department. Qualified immunity doesn't apply to you.
That's not true.
That is very true. That is very true.
That is patently false.
It's patently true, and we need to make sure we have that accurate. We cannot make that statement because you have a lot of officers out here who do their job with honor and dignity and respect for the people that they serve.
Listen, qualified immunity is a legal doctrine that protects government officials from civil lawsuits when they perform their jobs unless they clearly violate a constitutional right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And what is a violation of that right is when they're outside the norms of their training and the protocols of that department or that agency.
But here's the main thing, because we can actually go past qualified immunity.
Oh my God. Yo, black women are perfect. In case I didn't say it today yet, black women are perfect. Black women can do no wrong. Just like that WNBA coach wore that shirt that said black women are perfect at the basketball game that she was coaching at. Of course, with all those non-black fans, and all multicultural fans, black women are perfect. You can do nothing wrong. And I just want to remind you that if you are wrong, you never have to apologize, especially if you're talking to a black man. Can we be clear on that? Fellas, are y'all with me? White or black? Fellas, are y'all with? Black women are perfect. Perfect. This is embarrassing. The fact that she gets away with all this is crazy. I really just feel like she's there because the people who run the Breakfast Club, let's be real. The people who run the Breakfast Club, like the people that are high up, they want her on there. They want her on there just so we can do exactly what we're doing right now and look at it and focus on it and it bring us in, it draw us in. Because now we're actually excited to see Angela Rye. Because I was excited to see, once I saw Angela Rye was on there with Byron Donalds, I'm like, all right, Byron finna cook her.
Civil lawsuits when they perform their jobs unless they clearly violate a constitutional right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And what is a violation of that right is when they're outside the norms of their training and the protocols of that department or that agency.
But here's the main thing, because we can actually go past qualified immunity, because this is the place where you've refused to answer both on Donald Trump's accountability and on the law enforcement that you love so dearly.
How do you call somebody out for refusing to answer something? But you just called somebody, you just said they're patently false. That's patently false when he said something. And then Charlemagne reads it 2 seconds later. You're 100% wrong. And you don't even acknowledge that. It's cold world, fellas.
Right.
What we know is that he's
now we know it.
Full immunity, like the same immunity he now has because of the Supreme Court, because of the corruption of the Supreme Court. We have now gone beyond civil presidential immunity to criminal presidential immunity. He would like to give that same immunity to law enforcement. True or false?
Well, let's expand that a couple
True
things.
or false?
You can't ask a
True-
true or
because
false,
that- this
Angela,
is- this
because
is
you
a
got to
very
explain the
simple-
details. No, see, this is the
I
problem.
don't want you to explain the details because when you explain
Why you
the
don't
details,
want people
we
to
end
hear
up
the
down the road
details,
and not with
Angela?
the
The
facts.
details are what the things that matter. You
What I-
got to
what I would
explain
like
the
for you to
details,
do
or
is
then you just
answer
talk. You're
true or
just
false
talking.
and then explain.
If you
Yo, who created this problem? I'm so glad that all of the Black women in my life are nothing like that. I'm so glad that all of them are nothing like that.
if you don't explain the details, then you're just talking.
Yeah, you don't want to say that because you know that it's not true. So
That
let's
is
just
not
move
true.
along.
You want a true or false statement?
Congressman, I want to know.
I don't want to argue with you. I want to explain the facts.
Country.
Angela, I don't want to argue with you.
I would
want
like to
explain
know
the
if you've
facts.
ever experienced racism in this country, Congressman.
Yeah, actually, I have.
Okay. Do you believe America is a racist country?
No, I don't.
Okay, I believe that that's true because you said in an op.
Stuck. I believe that's true because she thought that she keep up, man. Like you're doing too much. Like why are you put it back in your pants, man? Like why is she trying to have like a like? This is crazy. This is the Breakfast Club. This is the number one. Isn't this the number one Breakfast Club? Maybe globally. I mean, the number one podcast, AM podcast globally. I don't know. This is. Shout out to DEI.
Yeah, actually, I have.
Okay. Do you believe America is a racist country?
No, I don't.
Okay, I believe that that's true because you said in an op-ed on Fox News as a Black conservative, I, like Senator Scott, agree, and our two lives and the lives of many Black men and women like us are living proof that America is indeed no longer a racist nation and by far the best place to reach your fullest potential. And so here's my question.
Let me ask y'all a question. Does anybody here think that another country would allow you to reach your fullest potential better than America? And if so, would you consider going there? Because I don't understand why, like, why do you try to make somebody, like, if people have in their minds, let's say that even if it is a racist country, why do you want, like, it's like, why do you want me to embrace this crutch? Why do you want me to embrace, like, yo, I don't feel it. I don't feel it, so it must not be there. I don't feel it. It's almost like, what do they say about a tree? This may be a bad analogy, but y'all gonna get it. A tree, does a tree in the forest make noise? If nobody, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't feel it. I don't hear it. I don't feel it. I don't feel this racism. And any amount of racism that is brought to me, I'm going to use it to my advantage. It's like, I don't know how long. Okay, so at what point, let me ask y'all this. At what would need to happen for us to consider this not a quote unquote racist country? Because I think that racism is probably the most natural thing that anybody can embrace. Everybody's racist. And it depends on your definition of, oh, well, you have to be empowered to be racist. Let's just be real. People are going to look out for the people that are closest to them. The majority of the people that are closest to them are probably going to look like them. That's not always going to be the case, but it's probably going to be the case in most areas, just like why most crime is committed against people that are the same. Most crime against Black people is committed by Black people. Most crime against white people is committed by white. It's just because that's who's in your bubble, in your community. But at what would need to happen for us to not be talking about racism? I don't know. And I asked my friends the other day, like, yo, like, do you experience racism? Like, let me ask y'all a question. What is the last, when did you last experience racism? When somebody didn't want to hold the door for you at ShopRite? Like, is it like, probably just an asshole. I don't know if he did it because I'm Black. I don't know. Are there certain people that do things just because we're Black? Yes. They look at us in a particular way. Yes. How do I know? Because when I go to the Jamaican shop, when I go to the Jamaican store to get food, they treat me different than the white person. So like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't feel it. It's not impacting me. Life is lovely. Life is lovely. If you look down on me, if you think I'm not smart because I'm black, then that's probably not going to work in your favor. I keep saying it's just like sports. If I'm going against somebody, let's say I play cornerback, or if I'm guarding somebody in basketball, if I think they're sorry, then I'm probably not going to prepare for them the same way that I would prepare for somebody that I think is Michael Jordan, or somebody that is Terrell Owens, or I don't know, the new wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, or I don't know. If you sleep on me, then thank you. Thank you. Like, that's going to be bad for you. You underestimated me. If I'm competing against you and you underestimate me, that's a great thing for me. It's a terrible thing for you. But why are we so stuck on this? Why?
You did, however, vote to support the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, along with every member of the House except for 3 Republicans. So I appreciate your bipartisanship there. And what I do know as well, because America is in fact a racist country, was founded on such principles. Black men were lynched by the carceral state last week. I'm sure you've heard of Marcellus Williams by now in Missouri, who was convicted by a nearly all-white jury, and Freddie Owens in South Carolina, who was executed despite his friend recanting testimony that Owens was not in fact there. This is the same state, by the way, that allowed for a firing squad as an execution option. Black people are about 7.5 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of murder in the United States than are white folks, and about 80% more likely to be innocent than others convicted of murder.
Let's talk about it. Can we have an honest conversation? She just said that black people are more likely to be convicted of whatever she just mentioned. Let's just talk about it. Like, when are we going to have an honest conversation about this? When are we going to have an honest conversation about this? And what do I mean by an honest conversation? When you think about, let's do a quick, let's have a little fun here. I need everybody involved in this group chat right now. I need everybody to type right now. Just type, when you think of a black city or a black community. Let's do black cities. Black community. Let's get 10. I want everybody to write a black city. Whether, I don't know, just write a black city that comes to mind. In your mind, just write a black city. Write a black city in the group chat. Write a black city. I'm not moving until y'all write a black city in the group chat. Well, if nobody writes it, then I'll just say something. All right. The first one, Baltimore. Queens wrote Baltimore. All right. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Baltimore. What comes to mind? If I'm a black person in Baltimore, am I just walking around there, just hanging out, feeling comfortable? Philadelphia, PG County, Atlanta, the Bronx, or the Bronx, Spanish and black. I don't know. Give me some more. Chicago. Are we do y'all get where I'm going here? Now let's name some white cities or some white areas. Let's just be real. Black people, it's like you can't be honest. It's like we can't be honest. Black people are seen in a particular light based on how most black people see us. Just like how Jamaicans and people that come from Africa, whether it's Nigeria or Ghana or wherever, y'all realize that how they look at us, because what do they see? What do they see as a representation of black people? If you're a white person and you don't grow up around black people, what is your representation of black people? When you turn on the TV, what do you see black people doing? When you hear about black communities, what do you hear that's going on in black communities? So therefore, we're all prejudiced, right? We all prejudge based on previous experiences. So our previous experience it determines our bias and does not allow us to be objective. Let's just be real. Okay, so you be the fool. You be the fool that is objective and going through life when it comes to your safety. So you carry yourself the same way in Upper Montclair or Livingston, or I don't know where else. I'm just thinking of white communities near where I grew up in Jersey. You carry yourself the same way in Westchester, walk around, hang out, do whatever you want, walk around the streets at night, the same way that you would in Baltimore, the same way that you would in Chicago when you're walking by O Block or wherever else. You carry yourself the same way, and you think that that's okay because you just want to be objective. I'm not going to act a different way, and because I'm in a different neighborhood, all right, you be the fool. You be the fool. Just like anything else. If we want to change our reputation, we change how we change how we, if we can change how we see each other by changing how we carry ourselves, then other people will be forced to change how they see us. It just is what it is. So I just don't want to hear it, bro. I just don't, like, I'm tired of all the victim stuff, bro. It's not leading us to any success. It's not delivering any progress. Like, what is it doing? We're talking about the same stuff that we were talking about in the 60s. Like, what are we talking? Like, what is going on? Then we bring Barack Obama, the same person that y'all complaining about all these how black people look. Why don't Barack Obama go fit? I'm going on a tangent. Let's keep going. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry.
According to a 2022 report by the National Registry of Exonerations.
All right, we're gonna move on.
So
we're gonna move on to the next one. 21. What do we got? 21, 24. All right, let's hear this.
To do his American Rescue Plan. Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the United States.
I
would argue we're not really.
You have to say that if it wasn't a racist country.
White, you could thrive. That are gonna make our country thrive. So whether you black, Hispanic, or white, you could thrive.
Right.
And so I think it's
So
important.
then would you have to say that if it wasn't a racist country, whether you're black, white, or Hispanic, you could thrive?
No.
Are we thriving? Are members in your state?
I would argue we're not really thriving right now. This inflation, which, by the way, was brought to us by Kamala Harris, has really slowed down people from being able to excel.
By Kamala?
Yes.
Vice president.
Oh, Charlemagne.
It's still a president.
Charlemagne.
Yo, this is so, I'm sorry, but the level of intelligence on this show is lacking. It just is what it is. There's a reason why. As a matter of fact, are there other shows? Like, I'm just sitting here thinking about it, and maybe I shouldn't say what I'm getting ready to say, but that kind of makes me want to say it even more, just being honest, because it needs to be said. When we have these type of people on here, like, is there another comparable white show to where they have, just people that have no idea about politics, like aggressively attacking politicians on policies and things that they aren't well versed in? Like, is there another, like, is it, I just don't think that there's a comparable on the other side when it comes to white people or any other group. This is such it's almost like, it's like Byron has to dumb himself down to have these conversations.
The way it was brought to us by Kamala Harris is
Charlemagne is like, oh, Kamala, she's the vice president. So we allow Kamala Harris to attach herself to all the positive things that she wants to attach herself to when it comes to her administration. But everything else that's a negative. Oh, the border's a crisis. Oh, that's not Kamala. She's the VP. The economy's in shambles. That's not Kamala. Inflation is, that's not Kamala. She's the vice president. Oh, this thing is, unemployment. Yeah, Kamala, she's the vice president. That's a positive. Yeah, she's part of the administration. Do we see what's going on here? Or is it just me?
Has really slowed down people from being able to excel.
By Kamala?
Yes.
Vice president.
Charlemagne.
It's still a president.
Charlemagne, listen, man. When Joe Biden wanted to do his American Rescue Plan, Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate. She broke the tie that started this inflation that has hurt so many people in our country. Everybody listening to your show. It's not true?
First of all,
you sure you want to go there?
Tie-breaking vote.
You sure you want to go there?
Go outside,
What you pulling out?
you go outside.
You sure you want to go there? Okay, let's go there.
You got it.
You got notes.
You
got notes, Angela, right?
That's fine. I have no.
You saw. This is, and pay attention to this because I was not aware of this. So I'm not sure if y'all are just more, if y'all have done more research than me. I wasn't aware of this. So this may be something that's a little bit different than what you previously heard. I'm gonna go back just a couple seconds.
It's not true?
First of all,
you sure you want to go there?
Tie-breaking vote.
You sure you want to go there?
Go outside,
What you pulling
when
out?
you go outside.
You sure you want to go there? Okay, let's go there.
You had it
You got
pretty
notes. You got notes, Angela, right?
That's fine. I have notes
I'm
too.
gonna give it to Charlamagne. I'm gonna give it to Charlamagne.
Is that on
I don't
every
even want to
question
hold
I've
it
asked,
because Angela, hold on now.
For every infrastructure project in your community,
you can go to
should
third
go
page
out
just to
and
highlight a
thank
portion.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Congress that voted for the American Rescue Plan.
So for every infrastructure project, she said we should thank Joe Biden and Kamala. Like, what does that have to do with what y'all are talking about? It's like every time she's proven wrong, she tries to move the goalpost to another area that they're not even discussing. But should we be surprised?
Angela,
That's what should be happening.
Larry Summers wrote an op-ed back in 2021. Larry Summers was the Treasury Secretary for Bill Clinton. He was an economic advisor to Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. He said that the American Rescue Plan that Joe Biden wanted, that Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate, would create a massive inflation that we have not seen in a generation. Well, guess what? Larry Summers was correct. You know who also was correct, Angela? I was, because I was in the budget committee when they brought the bill. And I said in that committee, it's going to cause massive inflation. That's what happened. So the problem we have in our economy today is that prices have gone up massively. Wages adjusted for inflation is down. People's pocketbooks are hurting. But we have a presidential election in 40 days. So, and I'm gonna ask Envy this question. Envy, you're in the housing business as well. I know because I listen to the show. Interviewed. No, I'm just asking them a question. Chill, Angela. So
Yo, how could something so pretty, so beautiful in the face, like what are you so angry at? Why are you so aggressive? Like, this is the problem. Like, you would think that if I was in a debate with somebody and I got proven wrong, like in front of everybody, like a couple times, I may ease up a little bit. You know what I mean? After I aggressively called them out for lying, saying what they're saying is wrong, and then I get proven time after time that I was the one wrong. It's like there's no, you know what's so funny? And this is what, Kamala Harris, I believe she was talking to was she talking to Oprah, or was she talking to the National Association of Black Journalists when she tried to take a shot at Donald Trump and saying that, oh, he was privileged, because he came from his father, gave him money, millions of dollars, whatever. Okay. There's a certain level of privilege that comes with being a woman and being a pretty woman and being a pretty light-skinned woman. Let's just be honest. And that privilege, Angela Rye benefits from and Kamala Harris benefit from. And it just is what it is. Because if she didn't look the way that she looked, I'll be totally honest. If she would get, the feedback would be even harsher. Just being honest. How many brown-skinned women out here, dark-skinned women have heard, oh, you're pretty for a dark girl. You're pretty for a brown girl. Yeah. Right, Maya? Yeah. So when you hear these things, just pay attention to how that impacts them in their day-to-day lives and how it impacts them in their professions. She is so privileged to the point where she doesn't even have the humility to acknowledge that she was wrong and pipe down a little bit. Listen to what she just, like, I don't know if y'all are peeping all this.
People's pocketbooks are hurting, but we have a presidential election in 40 days. So, and I'm gonna ask Envy this question. Envy, you're in the housing business as well. I know because I listen to the show. Interviewed. No, I'm just asking them a question. Chill, Angela. So I listen to the show. I know you do a lot of business in housing. Mm-hmm. Would you hire somebody that broke up stuff in one of your houses to fix the other houses?
No.
Exactly. She broke the.
Would you hire somebody who broke up stuff in your other house to fix the other house, to fix your new houses? But see, this is the whole DEI, non-merit-based, non-meritocracy. This is the participation trophy. This is, I'm owed something because I'm black. I'm owed something because I'm a black woman. This is that entire conversation. How do you fail? You have a terrible approval rating at vice president. You don't accomplish the very things that, if she accomplished anything, to be totally honest, for the first 2.5 years, we were sitting like, yo, Kamala ain't even involved in anything. You got Joe Biden, who's clearly showing cognitive decline. He's not out there. So you would think somebody younger, spruce, pretty, can talk, has a nice laugh. You would think that they would push her to be more and more involved and to be more out there, but they did not do that when she was vice president. So you're not even trusted as a vice president, but then as soon as it flips to you becoming president, it's like you go from having terrible approval rating as a vice president to being the savior as a presidential candidate. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
I broke up stuff in one of your houses to fix the other houses?
No.
Exactly.
Her and Biden, both of them, created a lot of these problems. Now she's running a campaign based on fixing the problems that she created.
She broke the economy.
I'm not going to do this morning, Byron.
Why are you not going to do this, Angela? Because I'm bringing facts. Hold on now. So now I'm bringing facts and you don't want to do it no more? Come on now, Angela. That's not right. I'm bringing facts. I thought we were going to have a fact-based conversation. I want to have a fact-based conversation.
You wanted to bring up votes. And so let's talk about votes.
Go ahead.
You have a 96% voting record with Heritage Action.
Angela, I'm not running for president, but we could talk about
for those who are listening.
Yeah.
Heritage Action is a part of the Heritage Foundation, which is the architect of Project 2025, which we can talk about more later. Okay. You voted no on HR 8404, which would provide federal recognition and protection to interracial couples. And that actually is a law that would benefit you, Congressman, given your marriage. You voted no. HR.
I don't know if y'all peeped the shot. He's married to a white woman, I believe. His wife is white. This entire exchange over these next couple minutes is pretty interesting. Let's peep what I don't know if y'all see. I told y'all before, my radar as far as somebody messing with me or trying to play me or disrespecting me my radar is very, it's up. Somebody tried. It just is what it is. So I don't know if y'all peep what she just tried to do or if I'm just looking into it too much. But what she tried to do was take a little shot. Well, this would benefit you, to try to take away from his blackness, because y'all may not have heard it early on in what we've heard so far, but throughout this show, for the people that have seen the entire interview, and we'll see more of it as we go along, they're trying to question a lot of his blackness. One for being a Republican and the other for being married to a white woman. Let's keep going.
Fit you, Congressman, given your which provide federal recognition and protection to interracial couples. And that actually is a law that would benefit you, Congressman, given your marriage. You voted no. HR.
What about your marriage, Angela?
6878 on requiring the Bureau of Prisons to provide incarcerated women with certain pregnancy-related care, including sexually transmitted infectious testing, contraception, appropriate housing, bedding, clothing, access to hydration and restrooms, prenatal vitamins and other appropriate conditions of confinement, screening and care for high-risk pregnancy, substance use, and mental health support, including postpartum depression and prenatal education. The list goes on, and it would limit the use of solitary confinement for pregnant women. You voted no twice on the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which would have restored the protections originally enshrined in the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which I've heard you tout. You also voted no on HR 3233, which established the bipartisan commission to investigate the terrorist and insurrectionist attack on January 6th at the Capitol. So you want to talk about voting?
Sure.
Please explain why you would vote so clearly against the interests of people who look just like you and I.
So the first two bills you talk about, I'll actually have to go back and see it, because a lot of problems with some of these bills are all of the other things that get put into them, not just the things that you're talking about. Specific to the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, the reason why I did not vote for that bill is because that bill would reinstitute what's called preclearance, Right now,
Yes.
hold on, man, Angela, you don't let me talk. Here we go. Here we go.
Is that okay to say yes?
Okay, here we go. So check
Are
this
you
out.
okay?
Pre-clearance,
Yeah,
right now, under federal law, really by Supreme Court precedent, is no longer the law of the land. The reason why that is because there's not been, over the last 30 years in elections, there's not been cases, or there's not been any specific cases around why you need pre-clearance in the first place, like was needed back in 1965, where you did have counties that were systematically discriminating against black people. So they could not prove, the plaintiffs could not prove at any point in the last 30 years where you still needed pre-clearance. I live in a pre-clearance county. Collier County, Florida is a pre-clearance county. I've lived in Collier County for 23 years now, 23 years. There's never been an issue with me casting a vote in Collier County, Florida at any time over the last 23 years. And that's before I became an elected official. That's when I showed up down there working the Cracker Barrel, being a waiter and just figuring out how to make ends meet, and I could still cast my ballot. So every other protection under the Civil Rights Act of 1965 is still law today. What my Democratic colleagues want is they want national pre-clearance, so that if any jurisdiction, whether if they were a historically discriminatory jurisdiction or not, if they made a change in their procedure, like reshifting a precinct, deciding to shrink or expand precincts, that would actually have to go to the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department for approval before they can make those changes. Now, why is that not important today? More people are voting by mail. So you have a situation where local election jurisdictions are shrinking precincts or resizing precincts or putting two precincts together because they don't have the volume of people going to cast ballots in those precincts. You're now telling me that you have to now go to the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department to get approval to put two voting precincts together? That's why the John Lewis Act, and all due respect to John Lewis, great man, phenomenal career, but that's why that bill of putting pre-clearance in nationally, even in jurisdictions where there were no historical discrimination of black people, is not necessary legislation. Those are the details.
And this is on the other side of 747.
All right, so we're gonna move ahead. Hold on, y'all know I would love to sit here and watch the whole thing with y'all, but I just want to skip ahead just a minute or so. Hold on.
There's been no discriminatory impact since Shelby County versus Holder, and that's why they should get rid of it. You brought up Jim Crow, and I'm glad you did.
Here we go.
Because you also have had something to say about Jim Crow, and I know that this, for whatever reason, has been unnecessarily tense. But I would love to invite you to clarify your remarks around Jim Crow, so that you can at least get rid of that part of misinformation. It's clear that you do stand opposed to the Voting Rights Act, though, in 2024.
No, we were in Philadelphia. We were talking about just the rise of black families again.
Please watch this. Please pay attention.
And which is actually a great thing in our country. And really comparing that to what was happening under that time period, the Jim Crow era, where, marriage rates in the black family were very high. After that era, with Lyndon Johnson's great society.
Hold up, am I tripping? Did something happen? I'm not seeing it on my screen, so let me know. Did something happen? Hold on. Yo, y'all, hold up. Let me. Yo, what? Yo, what the? Yo, stop playing, bro. Are y'all serious? It's all good. Yo, can y'all still hear me at least? This is crazy. Hold on. So y'all, all right, we back. Are we back? Are we back? I think I had to look at my other joint. Hold on. Let me know if y'all see me. Let me know if y'all hear me. Let me know. Yo, what? So I'm on LinkedIn. So Doug said I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah, what's up with YouTube, man? I tell you what, we finna, yo. All right. YouTube keep playing. Yeah, why did? Let me know if y'all can still hear me or if y'all can still see me. I can still see I think y'all can still see me, but just write in the chat. Yo. I don't even know what that's for. Like, I don't know why they just did that. I'm going to try to go on here real quick and see why. I guess, are you not allowed to, maybe I'm not allowed to show the, to review the breakfast. I don't know. Like, why did they just do that to me? I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. We're going to have to move on. I don't even know. Like, can I don't even know if I can play that. Maybe I can only play. Yo, somebody do me a favor. Look at it. Can you only play a certain amount of like a certain amount of minutes of a video? Can you only play a certain amount of a video on YouTube? Yo, somebody, we're gonna do a little project. Yo, somebody help me out with this. Is there like something where you assume just because you can only use a few seconds of any clip that it'll be okay? You cannot use any copyrighted material no matter the length. Oh. So they're saying we can't review videos, like YouTube videos. The show must go on. Don't trip. Yeah, we're gonna have to. So don't get mad at me. Like, this is crazy. I played the whole debate yesterday. Now whatever. Maybe it's not copyrighted. All right. So let's move on. All right. I'm gonna play another clip if I can. I'm gonna play another clip. We're gonna have to move from Byron Donalds. My fault. It just is what it is. What I will show y'all though is something. We're gonna keep the same Breakfast Club energy. This is what I'm gonna do. Damn, they really hating on your boy, man. All right, so don't trip. Let me don't trip. We adjust, we adapt. Yeah, the Jill Stein interview. I don't know. It is what it is, though. We're not tripping. All right, so we're gonna look at this other video. So I got another video for y'all. It's actually the same. It's the same Breakfast Club, Charlemagne and all them, but I believe it's a different segment. I don't know if it's the same day as the Byron Donalds, but take a look at this. So take a look at this video because this is I'm not sure that a lot of people are aware of this particular thing that Kamala Harris put in play. So let's take a look at it.
video show host Charlemagne the God applauded a Trump campaign ad that aired during NFL football games over the weekend. That ad highlighted Vice President Kamala Harris's previous support for taxpayer-funded surgeries for transgender inmates. For context, in 2019, Harris explained her support, saying, quote, "It is important that transgender individuals who rely on the state for care receive the treatment they need, which includes access to treatment associated with gender transition." Here's Charlemagne's reaction to that ad. Let's watch.
That ad they was running during the football games this weekend, claiming the vice president supports funding gender transition surgeries for all prison inmates and migrants in the U.S. That was nuts. I don't know if it was.
I wouldn't say nuts, but that was crazy.
That was funny.
I don't know if it was the backdrop of football. But when you hear the narrator say Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners, that one line, I was like, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
I definitely see that. She did
that ad was effective.
Kamala took a picture with a transgender. It was this what they were saying, that it made it seem like Kamala supports transgender sex changes in jail with our money. That's what it came across.
Yeah, isn't that what they're saying?
It literally said.
This is the thing. I think we touched on this on a show maybe last week. And I want to not talk so much so I can get through this video so they're not flagging me. But we talked about this. But how are y'all, such Kamala Harris bandwagoners, that it's like y'all I'm glad that y'all had a real review of this or a real response to it and acknowledged it, because they didn't have to do it. So I guess I should applaud them for just acknowledging this and putting it on the show. Because this is one of those things where I know that the Democrats, the Kamala Harris team, is probably upset for them for validating this and acknowledging it.
That Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. And it talks about how, she supports funding gender transition surgeries for all prison inmates and migrants in the United States. That ad was impactful. It was. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn.
Was it because it was during football?
Yes.
I think it was because it was during football.
But the last saying, like the contrast of it.
Yes.
But the last week they had the same thing running on Tim Walsh and said he likes tampons in boys' bathrooms.
I would not have paid that. I don't think I would have paid that commercial no attention if it was.
What's so surprising is he's talking about the Tim Walsh putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. Were you not aware of that? And to me, that just... Trump should have said it during the debate, and J.D. Vance should have acknowledged that yesterday, but he kept it classy, so I understand. However, we have to understand who we're voting for. There's a lot of people that are voting for Kamala Harris, that are planning on voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, that are not aware of these things. Do you want your tax dollars going to funding the surgeries of people that are in prison or locked up and locked up, so they can get their gender affirming surgery? Is that, do whatever you want to do. And that's the thing. Like, this is what we were talking about on the last show. All this stuff. Hold on. Let me do this for a second. All this stuff is forced on us. All of this stuff has been forced on us. And I was thinking about all the things that have been forced on us, whether it's 2020, what happened then? Hey, you have to take this or you can't move around. Whether it's Black Lives Matter, if you don't support Black Lives Matter, if you don't have this quota, if you don't have this particular equity score, whatever they were doing with businesses. What else did they force on it? The LGBTQ agenda overall. All of these areas that they're just forcing stuff on us. Like forcing it on us. I don't know. Like, are we not even paying? Like, are we not paying attention? Because we're going to end up voting for somebody out of spite, just because we dislike Trump so much. We're going to end up voting for somebody that when they get in office and they start implementing some of the policies that they've been very clear on, but because we're only scared of, think about it like this. We are scared of Project 2025. The Democrats are trying to make us scared to death about Project 2025, that we'll be in chains and shackles if Donald Trump wins. And Donald Trump has repeatedly said, like, yo, I haven't read it. I don't know anything. Like, I don't know about it. It's not me. Like, I have my own policy, my own plans. Look on my website. Look at what I've done when I was in office. But the things, but Democrats, Kamala said it. I'm not sure if Tim Walz referenced it yesterday as well, but the moderators brought it up, I believe. Everybody associates Trump with Project 2025, something that he's distanced himself from. Meanwhile, the things that Kamala Harris is actually standing on, that she's actually implementing, we just totally disregard or have no idea about it. We got to make it make sense. All right, let's get back to this. Let them finish off.
Was any other time, but when you're watching football and you just what the hell? In between big commercials, they give you this.
Yeah, I think it's important to admit that this was a pretty solid hit, digging up this old questionnaire that Kamala Harris responded to from the ACLU, where she was prompted by the organization to adopt this stance, and she did so quite willingly. It is not, I think we can all recognize that even if you, for some reason, happen to agree with it, I do not think it is a politically popular stance. I think it is one that's made her quite vulnerable to say specifically that inmates, criminals, should have their sex.
Yo, first off, the fact that it's inmates, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I don't want my tax dollars going to funding gender affirming surgeries or whatever they're called. For people, if you want to have that surgery, you pay for it. Why are my tax dollars paying for that? I don't understand. And now you're going to implement that same strategy or same policy for inmates? Like, come on, right? Y'all are doing the most. Like, it's to the point where this has been out of hand. I don't even know what to call it now.
Change operations or whatever it is, paid for by the state. I would further wonder whether some of them might not. This is not at all, in my view, a ridiculous scenario where someone who's going to be in prison for a long time would seek this kind of treatment in order to get into the women's prison instead of the men's prison, which is much safer than men's prisons in many.
Oh, man. It's a lot going on. All right, so wanted to show that. All right, so we're going to move on. So we've been covering a little bit. I think we touched on Candace Owens, what's going on with her. She's doing a deep dive on Kamala Harris, and she's not letting up. There's been a lot of stuff that has come out where Kamala may get in trouble for faking her identity, faking her lineage. And she, like I said, told y'all before, she may be the first Jamaican that claims that's sticking to that claim of being black over being Jamaican. She may be the first Jamaican ever in the history to claim to prioritize being black above being Jamaican. But here we are. I want y'all to take a look at this video from Candace Owens, because every day on Candace Owens' show, she's reaching out to people. They're doing their dig, and things are not lining up. It's not making sense. And now today, if I watch the show, this clip that I'm getting ready to show you guys is from yesterday, but today I didn't watch the full show. But apparently somebody from Kamala's family reached out, and things are not lining up. So let's take a look at this real quick from Candace Owens, and let's get y'all thoughts. This is going to feature one of my favorite judges, Judge Joe Brown.
Indication. Now, there's even more proof, of course, that at the very least, the bare minimum, Kamala Harris is not black. It isn't just Janet Jackson. Funny who the media picks on and who the media stays away from, because Judge Joe Brown has the credentials. This is a person that they know is intelligent, has had a talk show on TV, I guess you could say a judge show on TV for a very long time. And many of you guys were emailing me clips of him on the show discussing the fact that he knew Kamala's father and that he just simply knows that the family is not black. Take a listen to this first clip before we jump into the second one.
She was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black?
I mean, the math is not mathing. How did she become black? It doesn't make sense. Okay? It only makes sense if you stole the identity of the help, which is so sick, so twisted, so diabolical, so offensive that we demand a response to this. Like I said, if a single black person is okay with this and votes for her because the media simply decided to make her black, to essentially wave a little Harry Potter wand and go, oh, okay, we just need you to be black because we need those black votes, right? And you're okay with that, you should really re-examine your life. You should deep.
How do y'all feel about that? Let me ask y'all a question. If Kamala Harris is lying about being black, will that impact whether or not you vote for her? What if it comes out where she lied about her past, she lied about her lineage, lied about her heritage, lied about her ethnicity? Does it matter? And this, matter of fact, this may prove that we just proved that America is not a racist country because Kamala Harris is trying to become president, and by doing such, she's trying to prove she wants to be black because it'll increase her chances in becoming president in the United States of America. So if that doesn't prove that America's not racist, I don't know what will. What are y'all thoughts on it? Will that make y'all look at her differently? And a lot of people, you know what's so funny? A lot of people would say, well, you know, and when you think back to when she was asked that question by Dana Waltz, I think is her name, on MSNBC, when and she just responded. They said, Trump said, you know, he didn't know that you were black. He didn't identify. And she just responded, nah, you know, more of the same. You didn't answer it. You didn't answer it. And what's so funny is Candace Owens had a great point. They'll come for Janet Jackson. But Janet Jackson said the very same thing that Judge Joe Brown said. And I've actually heard that Judge Joe Brown interview, and that was, I believe, months ago at least, maybe even a year ago, when it came to him saying that Kamala Harris was not black. So unless I'm off on that, he's had a few different interviews where he's talked about her. And I don't know. Interesting times that we're living in. Very interesting times that we're living in. Let me go to this next video that I wanted to show y'all. Damn, that Byron Donalds thing messed me out, but it's all good. We're going to figure it out. All right, so we still got a bunch of cool videos to show y'all, so don't even trip. Don't even trip. So do I go to let's stay on Kamala for a second. So Kamala Harris, she decided to go on the All the Smoke podcast. So if you're not familiar with All the Smoke podcast, it's Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. The fact that she went on this show, people can kind of draw their own conclusions, have their own feelings about it. Usually, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, like, their show is called All the Smoke. I believe most of the time they're smoking weed on the show. They're high. It's very casual, laid back, cool show, whatever. I don't watch it, but it's I don't really have anything negative to say about it. Neither here nor there. Is it the type of show that I think that Kamala Harris would go on? I think that it's a very Joe Biden interview with Cardi B or interview with Charlemagne type of thing. That's the feeling that I get from it, where it's like, okay, let me talk to the black community, but, you know, let me go in a safe space. And by safe space, I mean where, you know, I can outsmart these guys. The intelligence is not going to be high, but the end, because that's the same thing that I said with the Breakfast Club, right? Where I didn't think from a political standpoint that they are intelligent. They were intelligent in politics enough compared to a Byron Donalds. Kamala Harris is probably thinking the same thing. The only difference is these Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, they are very much on the Democrat side. They are not the conservative Republicans. They are very much, we knew that this was going to be a softball interview, but let's take a look at this video. I think this is a cool video that this guy put together. I'll make sure that I put the full video, so I give the creator credit, and put the link to the video in the what is it called? The description. I'll put it in the description as well, so you guys can check it out. So let's look.
Kamala Harris doesn't do press conferences, but she will do softball interviews on a basketball podcast.
One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho. Old school, original.
OG,
Come on.
yeah.
But when she's not talking about pressing issues like Dorito flavors, she's carambling her nonsense.
What is your economic plan moving forward for people who are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling for groceries and rent and homeowners?
So, look, I grew up, so my sister and I were raised.
Which she almost went back into that middle-class family line while wearing her middle-class $60,000 Tiffany necklace.
Look, I grew up, so my sister and I were raised by our mother. We lived for a long time in an apartment on top of a childcare center. That childcare center was actually owned by...
He sped up the video.
Mrs. Shelton, who was small business owner. Small business and small business owners. I love our small businesses and focused on small businesses. And my vision overall is we need to build an opportunity economy in which we increase opportunity for all, including small business owners. So small businesses, community banks, community, and community, what the community wants.
But it still didn't give her answer any more substance, which an economy based on opportunity sounds great until you realize her economic plans include price controls, federalized healthcare, and race-based government handouts. And who knows, maybe Steven Jackson and Matt Bowens from the All the Smoke podcast love all those socialist policies. I know I don't have to agree with everybody's political opinions just to enjoy their podcast about playing in the NBA, because I do actually watch their show. But something tells me at least Stack wasn't buying all of Carambola's answers.
My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
That's crazy.
Right? Stacey Johnson.
Yeah, that's dope.
As you see him rolling his eyes here, but it immediately jump cuts to him smiling and nodding, which means they went back through over 45 minutes of interview and still had to sneakily splice together an edit to try to paint Harris in a positive light. And their comment section called them out on the edits, shaming them for their softball questions, Kamala's new accent, and same tired talking points. As absolutely nothing about Kamala's campaign is genuine. When she recently posted on Twitter about her taking a break from fundraising to work on responding to Hurricane Helene, still wearing that ridiculous necklace with her phone on the table showing that her headphones are plugged into nothing, while the pages she's working on are all blank. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is actually in Georgia, unable to work with Biden.
Have you reached out to President Biden about federal relief efforts?
No, I haven't reached out to him. No, I think he's sleeping right now.
As Biden finally returns from his beach trip,
Mr. President, why weren't you and Vice President Harris here in Washington commanding this?
Yo, leave Biden alone, bro.
I was commanding. I was on the phone for at least 2 hours yesterday and the day before as well. I command. It's called a telephone. And all my security people.
Is it not important for the country to see?
yes, he's commanding the overrun shelters running out of food with FEMA nowhere in sight. And when asked if Americans will get more support,
maybe this is here.
He
maybe
rejects
he's there
it.
now.
Are there any more resources the federal government?
Maybe he's there now. Did Biden go visit? If I'm assuming that this is, I'm making the assumption that he's in North Carolina, or he went to the location of, different storm sites where they were going through it. I don't know if y'all have seen some of the destruction from this hurricane, but it's been pretty bad. It's impacted some areas in a very terrible way. So I'm assuming and I'm hoping that this is him down there, because if he didn't actually go down there, that would be a problem.
No, we have pre-planned a significant amount of it, even though they didn't ask for it yet.
So while the roads are destroyed in North Carolina, the streets are flooded with sand in Florida, and the homes are underwater in Tennessee, local residents are forced to fend for themselves, just like in Lahaina last year, where the locals had to jet ski in their own supplies. And the more you look into what's happening after Hurricane Helene, the more outraged you'll get at this administration. But I think their biggest sin is that they think you're too stupid to notice that they're faking everything. Just look at her VP pick Tim's Twitter post about going to a football game. He's up there cheering from his suite while nothing is actually happening on the field. Out there pointing to the fans that could literally care less about him.
Hey,
and
hold on.
whatever this is.
Stop playing. Hold on. I didn't even peep that. I didn't see this part of the video. Wow. Nah, maybe they're on the other side of the field. I don't know, man.
Football game. He's up there cheering from his suite while nothing is actually happening on the field. Out there pointing to the fans that could literally care less about him and whatever this is. And obviously lying about a football game isn't the biggest deal, but it does make you wonder, if they have to fake everything about being a football fan, what won't they lie about? So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how Americans getting hit with a hurricane resulted in a
I like dude, man. I got to check him out. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and subscribe. Let's go ahead and subscribe. I didn't subscribe. Dang, bro got 646,000 in the spare bedroom. Hold up, man. Yeah, we gotta step it up. We gotta step it up. I know we got 10,000 people in the building. We gotta step it up, but we're gonna keep going. All right, so let me see what the next video is. 1 second. All right, so we got, I think, 2 more videos to go through. At least 2 more videos. Give me a sec. I'm trying to take these things off now. They tried to get me. The Byron, man. I wanted y'all to see that. It's all good. All right, so let's take a look at this next video. I thought this was funny. So we all know that CNN, and I'm just going to play this video because it's like I see so many things that I notice, and I don't know if y'all are noticing as well. I don't know if I'm just super sensitive to it, but I thought this was a interesting conversation. Let's take a look.
That's not winning them the independent voters. Well, I definitely don't need a history lesson on Oprah, who's... So this was regarding, this was actually, I had this video. This is one of those videos I was supposed to play for y'all like last week, but kept putting it towards the end of the show. But that's why we got it now, and it still stands. So this was a conversation that they were having a little bit after Kamala Harris had the interview with Oprah, the Unite America event, whatever you want to call it. And this was the conversation that happened afterwards. So I thought it was interesting, the dynamics here. But let's take a look. That's not winning them the independent voters. Well, I definitely don't need a history lesson on Oprah, who's Black history.
There is a Republican consultant. Her name is Whitley Jates over on MSNBC.
Shout out to Dave Rubin.
And here she is with some interesting thoughts on Kamala. I can't believe, well, here's something sane from MSNBC. It does happen now and again. Interesting thoughts on Kamala talking to Oprah. And are the people turning against Oprah, perhaps?
And this is sound of Donald Trump at his rally in North Carolina today without Mark Robinson. Mm-hmm. And what he had to say about Oprah? Mark Robinson. Mm-hmm. And what he had to say about Oprah?
All right. How do I go about this? All right. Yeah. So y'all know I always call out, like, I just don't understand. I do understand, but I just want to make sure that I'm not the only person seeing this. Why, when it comes to all these liberals, Democratic platforms, that the men that they get on their shows just seem to be very emasculated? I'm just being honest. And you're not being honest if you don't acknowledge it as well. When it comes to Van Jones crying on TV, and I know there's a few others that are typically on here, but there just seems to be a thing when it comes to strong Black women and emasculated Black men. That seems to be the combination for Black people that Democrats and liberals seem to love. Strong Black women, emasculated Black men with the same haircut. Now, let me stop. Shout out to Joy Reid. All right, let's keep going. That was mean. I shouldn't have said that, but let's keep going.
Did you see her on Oprah? That's not going to be president. Oprah didn't know what the hell to do. Oprah was like embarrassed. She wanted to hide under the table, but she's a professional and she was able to sort of disguise it. No, she wanted to go right under the table.
Whitley, why does Donald Trump lie like that? I mean, everybody knows. Come on.
I think that there were times during that interview where it looked like Oprah was trying to figure out where VP Harris was going. And I think when we're looking at this circumspectly, when we're talking about battleground states and talking to working everyday Americans, utilizing a billionaire who's not dealing with the cost of inflation, with stagnant wages, with stagnant industries is really just out of touch. And I think that's what he really meant to say, is that hiding behind Hollywood as opposed to really just talking about the policies of your administration may not be working specifically in battleground states.
That is literally rich, Whitley.
Thank you. I mean, it's wealthy. It's wealthy. It's wealthy. It's wealthy.
A rich man. Come on.
A couple of things here. So Oprah is one of the only people who has been able to have an audience of 20 million people for over many, many years. So I mean, she is a professional here, and she does have an audience, and she knows how to coordinate or how to appeal to wide audiences. The second thing is I'm really tired of all of the surrogates and Donald Trump and the JD Vance all saying this. That's not what the candidates are saying. That is not what they're doing. They're insulting people personally. They're being mean. They're being really vindictive. They're not sticking to the issues. And if they were sticking to the issues and saying what you think they mean to say, we'd be in a much different race. But they can't control themselves, and they just need to be mean and vindictive. And that's.
Can I ask y'all a question? Is there anything? What has Donald Trump said or JD Vance said about any of the Democrats, Kamala, Tim Walz, or anybody else, that is worse than being called Hitler? Is there anything that could be worse than being called Hitler? Like, there may be. But what I'm asking, or anything that's going to put you more in harm's way, than somebody calling you Hitler, because everybody seems to complain about Donald Trump. Donald Trump makes little jokes, and he says, what did he say the other day about Biden, now has mental issues or, because of age. And he said Kamala was born with them, insulting her intelligence. I didn't really like it. I'm not saying that I hated it. I didn't like him saying that. But he's at his rally. He's doing his pep rally stuff. He's just going off the cuff. It is what it is. But are any of those things worse than the Democrats referring to him as Hitler? I'm just asking.
Not winning them the independent voters.
Well, I definitely don't need a history lesson on Oprah, who's Black history, because I'm very familiar with all that she has done. But what I'm saying is, when you're talking to people specifically in a state where the average salary is $49,000, bringing a billionaire up on stage is going to present out of touch, specifically for working class Americans. And let me explain why. It's because the issues that they're talking about does not impact her the same, as opposed to having working class.
So once again, she's a Republican strategist. She's sharp. Now, I didn't really need her to say the whole history lesson on whatever. I gotta be fair on both sides. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need her to say that, but I get where she was going, because it's like, I feel like a lot of times when they have Black Republicans that are on a lot of these liberal platforms, whether on CNN or on MSNBC, and it's almost, or let's say you're going on The View, where you have a Black person go on The View and they're talking about the issues, and Joy Behar just feels that she can speak on behalf of what's best for Black people as if she's Black, as if she's just lived the Black experience. And because she's a Democrat, she knows what's best for Black people. So I understand her energy when it comes to that. This is what they do with a lot of Black Republicans, in my opinion. And I'm glad that she's holding her own and speaking more on and speaking to the realness of the situation and breaking it down exactly what she meant as far as it not being the best look. Kamala Harris going on Oprah to be more relatable with the people in that state as well as throughout the country.
I need a history lesson on Oprah, who's Black history, because I'm very familiar with all that she has done. But what I'm saying is, when you're talking to people specifically in a state where the average salary is $49,000, bringing a billionaire up on stage is going to present out of touch, specifically for working class Americans. And let me explain why. It's because the issues that they're talking about does not impact her the same, as opposed to having working class people maybe engaging with her, maybe a town hall forum. She has been utilizing celebrities to promote her campaign, as opposed to utilizing working class people or utilizing them to speak to working class people. And there is a disconnect.
I don't know. I mean, did you watch the town? I mean, it was a town hall. It was a town hall style forum.
He's lying.
And Oprah.
He's lying. It wasn't a town hall. A town hall, people get to ask questions. The only people that asked questions were already prearranged. They had the people from Win with Black Women, Win with Black Men, white guys for Kamala. They had the Hadley, the young girl that was 12 years old, tell her story. They had the people on Zoom ask the question that Kamala Harris was not prepared for, as far as like bringing the cost of housing and just living down. Everything was pre-set up. Like, it was already determined what she was going to be asked, who she was going to be asked by it. Let's be real. You had the Tracy Ellis Ross, you had the Chris Rock. That's not a town hall. They kept going, flashing back and forth to the celebrities, and that's not a town hall. Have a conversation with people. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, and I actually believe that Tim Walz is as well. I believe that they are totally fine with answering questions from just common folk in the country. I think that they're perfectly fine doing it. I think even Joe Biden's perfectly fine doing it. He may not be his best or give the best answer now, but I don't think that he's scared to death to do it. Kamala Harris will not accept questions that are not pre-approved, that are not just off the cuff. She will not accept those type of questions. She won't even put herself in that type of environment. And that's what's so wild, at the fact that she, in a lot of polls, is still up and still the favorite to become our next president.
Winfrey is, I mean, she's not a talk show host now or a journalist now, but it was like watching Oprah from the 90s. And
this is what I mean when I talk about emasculated black men. First off, fellas, I don't know, were y'all watching Oprah? This man is telling us, this was like, he's celebrating it and giving it credibility and saying that he liked it, because this was like Oprah from the 80s and the 90s. Bro, what? Like, so disconnected. This right here, this entire conversation, what they're having the conversation about, who's having the conversation, who's leading the conversation, is the exact reason why young black men are leaving the Democratic Party and going elsewhere. Look at the Democrats, look at the Democratic men that are representing the Democratic Party on these platforms, whether it's MSNBC or CNN. Look at them. Why would young black men identify with them? Especially young black men that are heterosexual. Why would they identify? Like, this is, I guess Joe Biden, he stuck to his word, because when Joe Biden was running for president, he made it very clear, and he said his number one priority is the LGBTQ community. And I'm looking around, I don't know if this brother's in the LGBTQ community, but I can tell that he is an emasculated black man, that he is very feminine in his movements, the way he talks. And he watched Oprah. I don't know. I'm a little bit younger than him, so maybe that was a thing. Maybe a lot of men were out here watching Oprah. I don't think my dad was watching Oprah. I don't think my uncles were watching Oprah. I don't think my older cousins were watching Oprah. Maybe I'm wrong.
The 80s.
And also the polls are closing. So clearly she's doing something right, because she's meeting people where they are, because she is now leading in the polls, and she's closing on issues that were Donald Trump's, like the economy and immigration. So something is working.
But polls are a snapshot in time, and we all know that,
yeah,
right? She was just down in the polls, specifically losing with.
The fact that something is working, to me, that says a lot about the intelligence of the American people, rather than the intelligence of a Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. The fact that this is working, this strategy that Kamala Harris has implemented, her and her team, the fact that it's working says a lot about our country. And maybe it proves or sheds a little light on why we are in the position that we're in right now, and why, when you have a conversation with the average person, why we're in the position that we're in right now. Let me not go there.
With African-American men, and this doesn't necessarily help her. When you see her utilizing celebrities in this way, when they want policies, they don't want the performance of Hollywood within their political spheres.
I mean, again, if you watched the town hall forum, you heard her talk about policies.
All right, there's a couple of funny things there, highlighted by the fact that when the white woman tried to chime in about black history, she's like, I don't need to know about that. Shut up, you white. Like, that was very clear. Like, don't you talk about that. And then
Yo, Ruben, funny for that. Ruben, funny
because
for
these
that.
people all deal, even the sane ones that show up on MSNBC, because they all deal in identity politics. Oh, yes, I am white and I am a and I'm just going to sit there and not. That's one thing. But really, the reason I was showing you that was I think she's right, actually, about the Oprah situation. Congratulations, Kamala. You can get up there and talk with a billionaire who can afford to have her guns and who can afford to survive and thrive even if the economy tanks and all of the rest of it.
All right. I was going to have another video, but it's already 11 o'clock. Yo, this was an amazing show. I swear I had so much fun. It seems like it's like one of those shows. You know how you play a game and it's like, yo, it was going so well. And now you keep trying to extend it because something happened and it got in the way. It is what it is, yo. We roll with it. Hopefully this doesn't impact our monetization. But I guess when I end the live, I guess I'll see what's going on. But it is what it is. No matter what happens, we adapt, we evolve, and that just is what it is. You know, I was having a conversation with my dad the other day, and he was telling me that he was realizing more and more that, you know, sometimes life's going to throw certain things our way, and the better off that we can just roll with it and make lemonade out of lemons. Or not, he didn't say that word for word, but that was the gist of it as far as what I received. The more that we can receive the things that happen to us in our lives and not sulk about it like victims, but just, hey, this is the cards that we were dealt. Let's make the most of it. I think that we're all going to be in the best position. So let me get rid of this. And before, we go, well, we're supposed to touch on a little bit of the VP presidential debate. I knew that Breakfast Club interview was going to go a little long. Imagine if we would have watched all the clips that I wanted us to see, but neither here nor there. We'll figure out a way. I'm going to look into the policies and figure out who's hating on us. Maybe I need to hit up Charlemagne, tell him stop hating. Either bring us on the show, and I mean all of us. Either bring the OG network, and we'll have a joint show. You can cast it to your audience. We're going to cast it to ours. We're going to be deep on our end, whatever. We're going to stand strong. What is the saying? I'd rather 10 lines than 100 sheep. So I'd rather a couple lines than 100 sheep. We them lions, man. So appreciate y'all as always. Let's finish it off. It's Wednesday. Y'all know that's our halftime. That's where we evaluate the things that we did in the first half of the week, or, Wednesday night. So definitely more than the first half of the week. And then we look at what we need to do for tomorrow and Friday to finish up and stay true to our words and stay true to what we declared would be the greatest week that we ever have. So with that, I'm going to ask y'all to, we got to do 30 to 45 seconds. Let's do 45 seconds of meditation, visualization, manifestation. Y'all know what we do. For the newcomers, we just take 45 seconds to clear our mind, do some breathing exercises, manifest, do whatever you need to do to put yourself in the best mindset. In the morning, it's usually in the AM. It's usually to put ourselves in the best mindset to attack the day. In the evening, we just need to give ourselves whatever we need. So if that's to just clear our mind and make sure that we have a good night's rest, so that way we can attack tomorrow, get up the time that we said that we wanted to get up, maybe get a little 10, 15-minute workout or stretch or breath work in the AM before we go to work, whatever we need to do to put ourselves in the best mindset. That's what we are committed to. So let's do 45 seconds. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place. And we're going to start that right now. With every breath in, we're breathing in all the good energy. Every breath out, all the negative. So let's go. All right, one more breath in. One more breath out. Yo, I promise y'all, I love y'all, man. Y'all stayed with me. Y'all stayed with us. Onward and upward, strength and honor. Y'all know what we're here to do. Elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint as well as raising our standards to become the leaders that we need to become. Period. All right. And with that, we're getting to the bag. When we manifest tonight, dream about getting to that bag. What's in your bag? I don't know. What's in my bag? I got you. Peace, love, and happiness. Once again, peace, love, and happiness. That's what we lead him with. And then health, wealth, and then everything that we do. Integrity. Queez left the fire emojis, so y'all know what it is. Yo, this was amazing. Yo, I'm so amped. This is the most excited I've been about life in a very long time. And I think, and not to say that I wasn't excited about life, but the excitement just keeps growing. So it's a good place to be in. So Queez sent the fire emojis. Uncle Brother, he sent this. So Uncle Brother, from now on, that's what we need from you at the end of the show. We need the 2 pieces and the Voltron, whatever, you know. Yeah. We embracing that. And then Queez, as always, we gotta end off with the fire emojis. And please, as Queez reminded on the last show, like before you head out. And if you're feeling real generous, share the show with a friend and family member and let them know that we had a little bit of a disturbance, or just let them watch it. It's all good. Disturbance, good news, bad news, who knows? And with that, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.